Kirsten Stewart has been pretty outright about how silly it is that she began her career on Twilight, and has made some outstanding comments that otherwise contrast her actually being pretty proud of her work on the films. But perhaps most famously, Robert Pattinson hated his work as Edward Cullen in the trilogy. We especially feel for the Twilight fans with Edward posters up on their walls. But Pattinson started out as Wizard Boy number 17 in the Harry Potter movies, and would have probably gone on to have the same stellar career as every other minor Potter actor if he hadn't landed the role of sparkly vampire Edward Cullen in Twilight. However, even way back in 2008, Pattinson made zero effort to hide his opinion of the character in an interview with Empire Magazine, for example, poking fun at him for being a century-old virgin, because vampires, vampires live long. But when you read the book, it's like Edward Cullen was so beautiful, I creamed myself. I mean, every line is like that. He's the most ridiculous person who's so amazing at everything, and the more I read the script, the more I hated this guy. So that's how I played him, as a manic depressive who hates himself. Plus, he's a 108-year-old virgin, so he's obviously got some issues there. That's what Pattinson said. And that was before he had to play the guy for 4 whole years. Apparently not realizing there's no faster route to heartthrob status than pretending to be a moody a-hole. He later complained that he wanted to strangle whoever came up with fan name Arpats. He prefers the more dignified Rob's P.
It's almost impossible to not do that.
As for the secrets of his brooding performance, besides playing him as a manic depressive who hates himself, Pattinson also admitted that the trick to portraying Edward is just looking slightly constipated. Yep, and stoned. Pattinson openly drags the Twilight scripts every chance he gets, but hey, at least he willingly shares the blame. And his Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire co-star isn't much happier with his iconic role. That's right. In multiple interviews, Daniel Radcliffe has admitted that he cannot bear to watch the Harry Potter films, saying, "I'm just not very good in it. I hate it. My acting career is, much better than that." No, he actually said, "My acting is very one note, and I can see I got complacent, and what I was trying to do just didn't come across." Anyway, James Bond has 2 actors very unhappy with their roles. Daniel Craig, who has said Bond became a drag because the best acting is when you're not concerned about the surface. Bond is the opposite of that, and you have to be bothered by how you're looking. And no one hates Bond more than Sean Connery, one of the OGs. Before being the first James Bond, Connery was just another ex-coffin polisher, footballer, and babysitter with magnificent accent. I mean, that's just brass tacks. But after Bond, he was, James freaking Bond. And the guy is like 100 years old and hasn't been in a movie for 10 years, and, he was still recognized all over the world as the incarnation of manliness until he passed away. And after all, who doesn't love 007? Every woman wants him, and every man wants to be him. Well, except for Sean Connery, apparently. But as previously unknown, starving actor, he was grateful for the fame and success the Bond role gave him. He wasn't exactly a fan of actually performing it, saying, "I have always hated the damn James Bond. I'd like to kill him." Connery was reluctant to sign up for more than one Bond movie, but when he reached the last one, he gave away the entire salary to charity, presumably out of spite, and apparently Bond producers hate charity, I guess. As for the character's sex symbol status, Connery observed, "I think one of the appeals of James Bond has for women is that he is decisive and cruel even." This is coming from a guy who assured Barbara Walters that it's cool to hit women. That's Barbara Walters, by the way. The producers were only able to keep Connery around by throwing more and more money at him and his charities every time. He quit after his 5th movie, and then after the 6th, then after the 7th. He'd probably still be playing Bond if the United Kingdom's economy could sustain it, despite hating the guy all the way. Connery felt that the larger-than-life super spy character had quickly become a parody of itself.
No.
And we can't let the guys have all the fun or hate. Halle Berry, actually who played a super hot Catwoman, albeit badly, bravely accepted a Razzie Award for that role. Yeah, that's when you are awarded a role for being the worst actor of the year. And actors typically don't show up for Razzies, but Halle wanted to make a point. She even mimicked her iconic speech that she gave when she won the Oscar for Monsters Ball, while clutching her Academy Award in one hand and her Razzie in the other. Through fake tears, Halle said, "I want to thank Warner Brothers for casting me in this piece of, and I'd like to thank the rest of the cast to give a really bad performance like mine. You need to have really bad actors." Isn't that beautiful?
It was just what my career needed,